Hello everyone, I'm Gail Thompson. Welcome to my new YouTube channel. This is only my second video. My first is a craft room tour. We're going to make glow-in-the-dark pop-up boxes using the Fawn pop-up box die. I'm adding my own little twist by using a galaxy background, but not starting with white cardstock, and using some glow-in-the-dark elements. The trick or treat, the ghost, and the little bit of glow I have on the grass in front are made with 3 different supplies. On the left, I have Wow embossing powder in the glow-in-the-dark, the center, Martha Stewart glow-in-the-dark glitter, and on the right, Nuvo drops in sour apple that glow in the dark. The main products used are the Monster Mash, Trick or Treat, Booyah, and Scalloped pop-up boxes by Fawn. I'm going to start out by making the grass for the front of the box using Twisted Citron Distress Inks. I'm using an old My Favorite Things die that's unavailable now, but I just wanted to show you I pushed it over a little bit and did the pointy part of the grass facing the edge so you could get a twofer when you cut it out. It saves time and it makes you feel like you've done something smart. Obviously, I'm not using a lot of technique here. It doesn't matter if it's modeled because we're going to cut it out anyway, and it just gives the grass more texture. I'm spritzing it with my distress sprayer, but the first go round I wasn't thrilled, so I came back and I'm adding more color and we're going to give her another go. So now I'm just going to spritz it again and see if I like what happens the second time, blotting it out with a clean paper towel. And now I'm going to sit the die on there, and I moved it over a little too far, but it's okay. And here's the twofer I was telling you about. There's the tall grass that needs mowed, and then the short side. During this process, I discovered that I didn't have the twisted citron oxides. All I had was the dye. So I made my own little hack by adding some twisted citron dye to some Hero Arts Unicorn White pigment ink. And then I'm just going to mix it together. And it works pretty well. It does lighten the citron just a little bit, but it doesn't really matter for this project. The pigment gives it just enough of a grabbing element to be able to be shown on dark cardstock. You would never be able to show Twisted Citron Distress dye ink on a dark cardstock, but this works pretty well. Now I'm just going to make sure where the flaps are going to be on the die, and now I'm going to show off my amazing fine art skills. I'm not sure if you'll be able to do this at home, but you can only hope to accomplish this. Just kidding. I don't do anything fine art because I can't draw or paint. That's why I stamp. As you can tell, I'm just doing a galaxy background, but I'm using purple cardstock and just adding some more distress oxides. The orange, the fossilized amber, the faded jeans, all of the supplies will be in the description box below and over at my blog. And I'm just going to pounce these on. I didn't even bother with a dauber. Here in a couple minutes, you're going to see I just wound up using my finger. Just get that color on. And I found out later here that the more color you put on, really, the better. You'll have better results. I don't think I mentioned, but you probably picked up on that it takes 2 sides of that die to actually complete the box. So I'm just going to keep pouncing around here and getting this finished up so that we can go on to the next step. A running joke with me is that you're either going to get burned using the heat tool or not using the heat tool. You want to make sure this is good and dry because we're going to be adding distress ink over the top, the soot, black soot. And then we're going to spray the water over it. So I'm only going to do one of these because I think, I don't really want to bore you. Here I am with the fingers. I couldn't figure out which one of the sponges was the orange and the fossilized amber kind of the same color. So I just used my finger, and now I'm going to try to use up some more of that Hack Twisted Citron. And well, it's getting kind of dry on the block. So pretty soon here, here we go, smash it as best I can because I wanted to get all the use I could out of that. Once again, I want to make sure this is really, really dry because we're going to put that black soot on there, and then the magic is going to happen with the spray bottle. Just hang in there because it looks like a hot mess right now. And I don't put too thick of a layer of the black soot down because, well, I'm chicken, and so but this one, trust me, it turns out pretty good. Okay, get ready for it. It's going to happen right in front of your eyes. And I haven't even really added heat or anything. This is just natural. Now I'm going to take the clean paper towel, wipe over it, and look at that. I'm going to hit it with the heat gun again. Try to unwarp that paper. Hit the heat gun to the bottom as well as the top. Keep your paper flat. And there you go. I'm going to position the die over to make sure that it lands in the right place. And now I'm die cutting it, heating it again because I'm getting ready to emboss with our glow-in-the-dark embossing powder. Now first, since I had it wet, I'm going to test it by putting some on there and then seeing if it sticks. And it didn't, so we're pretty good. Now I'm going to use my powder tool and get rid of any possible static because I'm swinging without a net here, and I don't want to mess this up. I'm not using a MISTI, so I only have one shot at this. I noticed when I put my stamp on my unicorn white pigment pad that evidently the ink isn't in there evenly. It sits around a lot. So I'm just going to twist around and make sure I use different parts of the pad and get it evenly coated because I just really don't want to mess this up. So here we go. Here goes nothing. Looking good. And then just sprinkle the powder on top. Tap everything off good. Yay, look how clean that was. I'm kind of impressed with myself. I usually have to do a little bit of cleanup work with a paintbrush. Now we're going to heat this up top and bottom to keep the paper flat. And I probably should have had my heat tool a little hotter before I brought it to my paper, but I was getting impatient. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let's get it dry. It's a good idea to do as many elements as you can while the box is still flat. Now I'm adding my little monster mash elements. I'm not going to embarrass myself by showing you Copic coloring techniques. There are people way better than that. So I did these in advance and added some googly eyes. And now we're just going to put the box together. And I'm using some super strong tape, the score tape. And I want to make sure I get the creases good. Now I have a cheap bone folder, and that's fine. Just use the flat side when you're doing your creases, and that way you won't get the shiny part that sometimes shows up. Now it's just a matter of putting the box together, and it takes me a little while to fiddle around because even though I've done them, I forget. But I put the element that with the background, which I did not fold, to the left. And now we're just going to tape down. And now we've got the box formed pretty much. And look at that beautiful galaxy flap. Oh, I'm so proud of that. So now I'm going to fiddle around a little bit, putting the elements on. There's the grass that we so lovingly made. I know no one else seems to have trouble with their multimedia mat, but I think mine got a little dry or something because I had a horrible time getting it on. So I wound up pulling out a new bottle and just glopping it on and smearing it. But now I'm going to I put the short grass there in the front. You can tell it's humid here in Ohio. Look at that lovely hairdo. So I'm going to press this on, give it a second to dry. It does, multimedia matte does dry fairly quickly. So that is a very good point. And now I'm just going to make sure everything folds together. And this score tape, I'm telling you what, I have the worst time getting it off the outside tape there. And then I mess around with these. I positioned them in the wrong place, but it's okay. They're too far apart. I should have put in a third one, and I had a third one, but then I would have had to put elements on it, and then the video would have been longer. So I didn't. I am going to trim off this little bit of grass so everything adheres and folds perfectly. Then I'm going to flip that other flap in, mess with getting off the release tape of this. Fortunately, I sped it up for you, or we would be here tomorrow. And there we go. I get things, make sure the bottoms line up evenly. And there's our box. See, there is too big of a gap there. I kind of fill it in, but it'll be okay. It really winds up cute anyway. Now I'm gonna fool around with the elements here a little bit. That little monster in the back, I put some of the Nuvo drops on, and we'll see it later. There's my bat with some acrylic tape glued to it. So he's gonna look like he's flying in the air. And I just think that's a really cute trick. Now we're going to do the same with the vellum ghosts coming up. I had some issues with Mr. Ghost. He was going to be on the back, and I'm going to show you at the end of the video that you can glue ghosts to paper and have them show through as long as you get the glue all the way on the back in a thin layer. Now, I also go around it with my Memento Tuxedo Black pen because whenever I cut, I never do it perfectly. And this gives a professional looking result. So I'm going to hide the adhesive behind the little guy's bow tie. And we're going to go ahead and put him in the box with everybody else. And make sure at the end to look at that picture I have of it actually attached to paper. And after a little more fussing, we have the finished project. I hope you enjoyed it and you'll come back and visit me soon. Here we are with our glow-in-the-dark elements. It's pretty cool if I may say so myself. Be sure to click and subscribe to both my video and the blog and enter for the giveaway. Will it be tricks or will it be treats? Have a great day.